Jim Schultz here for Calculated Risk, and don't forget the ways you can help us the best are by liking the video and subscribing to the channel. Both of those things help us out a ton. So those little numbers that you see on the bottom of your trading platform, on the bottom of your tastytrade platform, right before you place a trade, that is called your trade bar, and that gives you so much information about the upcoming trade that you're about to place, all compressed into a handful of data points. So what I want to do here for the next couple of minutes, let's actually unpack what the information is on that trade bar, what the variables mean, so that way you can build up your foundation as a beginner trader and you understand what you are getting yourself into with whatever trade you might be wanting to do. So what the trade bar is showing you is it's giving you a very broad overview of the exposure on that trade. It's giving you some probability metrics. It's giving you some risk return metrics. It's even kind of showing you what your directional exposure might be, what your theta decay might be, how much capital you're going to have to set aside for that trade. It's really giving you a nice foundation of the key elements around that trade. And so essentially what the trade bar is doing is it's allowing you to answer a few key questions before you even put the trade on. Like, number one, how likely is this trade to work? Like, what is the probability of success around this specific trade? That's really valuable stuff. Also, number two, how much money could I potentially make on this trade? Like, what is my profit potential on this specific trade? Also pretty important. And then number three, how much could I potentially lose on this trade? Like, what is my worst case scenario for this specific trade? Also, in my opinion, a really important piece of information. So let's hop into tastytrade. Let's look at a few different strategies and a few different stocks, and let's see all of this in action in real time and try to understand what's going on. Okay, so as you can see, I am inside of my tastytrade platform. I have Tesla pulled up. And let's just look at an option chain for Tesla. So this is the option chain. Of course, Tesla actually has earnings later today after the bell. But let me open up, the May cycle with 23 days to go. The first thing that I want to make sure that we all understand is that when I click on any option that is out of the money to bring up a trade and to begin understanding the trade bar, what you'll notice is something very, very interesting and essentially one of the cornerstones behind everything that we are doing. If I were to sell a 30 delta put in Tesla, you're going to notice, if you look at the probability of profit, this is greater than 50%. My pop on this trade is 72%. And right here, this little green marker that you see in the center, or green dot, I should say, that you see in the center of the screen, this is where the stock is currently sitting. So anything on, if I grab a different color, anything on this side of the screen when it comes to the put options is out of the money. Anything on this side of the screen when it comes to call options is also out of the money. And one of the key things we want to understand is that whenever you sell an out of the money strike or an out of the money strategy, your probabilities, your probability of profit on that trade is going to be greater than 50%. It's going to be north of a 50-50 shot because you are putting the probabilities in your favor. And so we're going to work through the other elements that are on the trade bar, of course, but we just want to understand that when it comes to out of the moneyness and probabilities of profit, when I'm out of the money with my strike selection, I am going to have a probability of success on the trade that is greater than 50%. Okay, similarly, the next step to that, before we kind of dig into the trade bar, understand as I move the strike around, my probabilities are going to change, right? So again, you can see if you just look right down here at this probability of profit at 68%, if I move my strike closer to the money, right, that's obviously a riskier trade. I'm getting paid more, but my probabilities are going down. If I move the strike further away from the money, that's a less risky trade. My probabilities jump, but I'm not going to make nearly as much money. And so when it comes to understanding probability and what you see on the trade bar, that is a key fundamental relationship that exists in all of option pricing and in all of options in general, that the higher the probability, the further you are away with your strike selection. Lower probability typically relates to strikes that are much closer to the at the money level. And then, next up we see extrinsic value. This is going to show me how much extrinsic value I have working for me on the trade. So it absolutely gives me a feel for the time decay that is working for me in a total sense. the time decay that is working for me in an overall sense. Theta over here, which we'll get to that here in a second, that's going to kind of show me my time decay on a daily basis. But then if I look at my P50, this of course shows me what is the probability that at some point over the life of this trade, I could make 50% of max profit. The probability of profit shows me what's the likelihood that at expiration I make a penny. The probability of 50%, the P50, that shows me what is the probability that at some point over the life of this trade, I'm going to be able to buy this position back for 50% of max profit. So instead of making my $795, I would make just under $400 in this scenario. That's what my P50 is measuring. And then if I go to delta, this is going to be my directional bias on the trade. As we know, as we understand, delta of course is dynamic, and one of the interpretations of delta is what is the directional exposure of the trade. Every option contract of course has 100 shares, and so a delta of 26 is basically showing me that when I put this trade on, it's going to feel like 26 shares of stock. It's not going to feel like the full weight of the contract of 100 shares. It's going to feel like 26 shares of stock. So much, much less, at least right now. But should the option go in the money, should Tesla go down, this delta right here, which is the same thing as this delta right here, that is going to increase. That is going to move higher. And one final point on delta. You might notice that up here, delta is represented as a decimal. And down here, delta is represented as a whole number. Those are the same number, even though obviously they don't look the same. The number that you see on the option chain is on a per share basis, and the number that you see on the trade bar is on a per contract basis. And again, remember, every contract is 100 shares. And so all we're doing is simply multiplying this option chain delta by 100 to give me my total position delta. And then moving on down the road here, my theta is going to be $33. My theta is essentially showing me what rate is this extrinsic value going to burn off at. Like what daily rate can I expect my extrinsic value to dissipate on this position? That is what your theta is showing you. Now again, much like every other metric in the marketplace, it's not static, it's going to move, it's dynamic, it's going to bounce around. But right now, this is essentially showing me that the next day is worth $33 to me in terms of the decay that I can reasonably expect from this option. So I can reasonably expect that if this option were to live and exist in a vacuum, that it would move from $7.90 down to 33 cents below $7.90, which is what, $7.53 or $7.57, I should say. And so the option price is going to drop from $7.90 to $7.57 in a vacuum, if nothing else were happening. Well, of course, there's a lot of other things happening, and there's always a million things going on, and so it's never going to be that clean and that tidy, but this does give me a nice understanding of what is happening between theta, extrinsic value, and the option price. And then lastly, my maximum profit on this short put strategy, you can see, is going to be my credit collected, because that is my best case scenario. The best case scenario is the option expires worthless, I keep the entire thing, and that is my maximum profit. The maximum loss, negative 35,000. That is certainly going to soil some underoos that might be out there watching the show today. So what does that mean? Well, to achieve maximum loss on this strategy, you would need Tesla to go all the way down to zero. So the stock price would literally have to fall all the way down to zero. Is that theoretically possible? Of course. Is that a likely outcome in the next 23 days? I'm going to say no. You have to make up your own mind on that, but I'm going to say not a super likely outcome. But theoretically, you do have to understand what is my maximum loss scenario. And then lastly, the buying power effect. This is going to be $13,000 to hold this one single short put. Just a one lot, right? We're only talking about one contract of this short put. That $13,000, that is essentially the brokerage's estimate of what is a likely practical forecast or estimation of your worst case scenario. That's essentially what it is at this moment in time. Now, it doesn't mean it can't get worse than that. And it doesn't mean that if you trade long enough, you won't have situations that certainly are worse than that. But the brokerage is trying to figure out, okay, based on the stock price, based on the strike selection of 365, based on the implied volatility in the underlying stock, What is a reasonable estimate of how much capital we need a trader to set aside to effectively absorb a practical estimation of the worst case outcome? And in this case, we can see it's about $13,000 here for Tesla. Okay, so sticking with Tesla, that was an undefined risk strategy. Let's now turn our attention to a defined risk strategy. So let's say that you wanted to play Tesla to the downside and you were bearish on Tesla, but you wanted to do it in a defined risk way. So maybe you sell a 395 400 call spread. And so you're going to notice a couple of things about the trade bar here that are similar to what we saw before, but then you're going to notice a few that are very, very different. So number one, you see again, your probability of profit is greater than 50% because you are using out of the money options. And specifically, you are selling out of the money options. The extrinsic value is going to be my total extrinsic value that I can collect on the trade. That's going to be the difference between these two numbers because I'm selling the extrinsic value up here and I'm buying back the extrinsic value down here. And so the differential is the maximum extrinsic value that I can collect over the life of the trade. Again, P50 has the same meaning. In this case, it's going to be about a 60 to 65% chance that you can close this guy at 50% of max profit at some point in the trade. My delta, I'm slightly bearish on this trade. I'm not super bearish because, again, there's going to be an offsetting feature between these two options, right? I'm selling one and buying the other. And so one is bringing on one side of the Greeks and the other is bringing on the other side of the Greeks. That's going to be kind of watering down the initial Greeks from the short option. My theta, slightly positive, but time decay is not working nearly as hard as it was with the undefined risk strategy that we just saw a few minutes ago. And my maximum profit is again going to be equal to the credit that I collect on the trade. My maximum loss is going to be equal to my worst case outcome. Well, what is my worst case outcome here? Well, my worst case outcome is capped by the very nature that I'm using a spread instead of a naked strategy. And so my worst case outcome is Tesla goes above 400 and it stays up there. Well, if that were to happen, then I would have to buy back my $5 spread for $5, but I collected $220 on entry. And so the difference between those two is obviously going to be $280, and that is where you get your maximum loss. And then similarly, the buying power effect you can see here is actually tied to the maximum loss. And so you can see these two are forever linked together with a defined risk strategy, because when you have a defined risk strategy, the broker knows, hey, worst case scenario, you're just going to lose your maximum loss. We don't have to set aside extra capital. We don't have to set aside, potentially extra, buying power to protect the trader, ourselves, against a crazy move in the stock if they happen to get the direction wrong. And so because of that, with defined risk strategies, it's very common to see the buying power effect and the maximum loss be very, very close, oftentimes the exact same, as they are indeed forever linked. So that's it. That's the trade bar. I mean, 7 numbers giving you a great deal of information so you understand what you are indeed signing up for before you even commit a single dollar. And the goal here is not necessarily to memorize all the formulas and all the inner workings of every single variable. Instead, it's just to understand, hey, what are these numbers communicating to me? I look at a pop, I look at a P50, I have a good feel for my probabilities around this trade. Right, I look at my delta, I have a good feel for my directional exposure. I look at my theta, I have a good feel for how, valuable time might be to me on this trade. And then, of course, I look at my max profit, I look at my max loss. Now I have a really good understanding of the risk-return relationship for this specific trade. And then lastly, of course, I look at the buying power. I know how much capital is going to be required to hold this trade over its duration, at least right now. Of course, buying power is not static. It is fluid and dynamic, so it can change, but it does give me an idea of what I am indeed getting myself into. So hopefully that makes a little bit of sense, building up your foundation, understanding the trade bar, and we'll see you guys next time.